What are three things you can do to be able to land your first Scrum job in less than 90 days? Hello, welcome to our Monday Leadership with Dr. Francis Mbunya, and welcome to the Scrum Chat Room. Today, we want to talk about three main things that if you can combine them and do them appropriately, then that job is very close to you. So if you're new here, you want to make sure you click the like button, subscribe button and drop a comment so that anytime I put on a new video, you are going to be first to actually be get the notification. And we are going to be putting two new videos Mondays and Thursday. Be on the lookout. And the couple of weeks I'll be sending out several daily learning video on our short as well. So be on the lookout. Now I want to focus mainly on three things which if you can do them appropriately, then that job is just next on the corner. I want you to pay attention right to the end. The last tip I'm going to give you is about closing, right? What do you actually say to actually put yourself in front of the other while you're interviewing? But then the first tip I want to talk about today is the resume. Now, the resume is not just about how good your resume actually look like. Many people actually interview from the first to the second to the third to the fourth phase. Now, what kind of keep them out if you've been in that position where you interview from stage one, stage two, stage three, and nothing happened? One of the most reasons would not really be only the way you talk, but also your interview. Now, when your in would be your resume, sorry. When your resume starts from the recruiter has zero or no knowledge about Scrum, right? The recruiter is looking for a keyword. With ChatGPT and with Resume Writer, anyone can get a resume that actually get them recruiter score. Now, there are people that get the recruiter score and not get to bypass the recruiter course. The reason is that your resume and the way you talk do not correlate. Because if I see your resume with so much experience and so much technicality, there's a way I'm expecting you to talk. So that is the first gap that is missing for those who get on recruiter calls but cannot bypass recruiter calls. If you're at the end where you're getting no recruiter calls as well, then the couple of stuff you're doing wrong, which is one of the reasons why you should seek an opinion of an expert. And you can be able to join us in our 90 days to learn your Scrum Master job. It's a challenge for those who want to be able not to waste time, not for those who are looking maybe for some kind of just help, right? It's not for those who say, oh, I know everything, I'm missing just one thing. No, it's those who want to get it and do it. So if you're in that category, you reach out, we can help you. But then let's move ahead. The second phase of interviewing, where you interview level stage one, stage two, stage three, and you don't get a feedback, what is happening is that there are certain things that do not correlate in your resume. Now, when you now get to the last phase where the competition is high, they start going very close to your resume, line by line. So you'll see they'll ask you some really technical questions just to see if you actually master exactly what you're talking about in your resume. I'll give you an example. In one of the interviews, somebody was asked the question, how many stories do your recruiters how many story do your developer complete in a day? And the person was trying to give them an average number. Now, this is a limitation. Why? Because in a Scrum environment or in a Kanban environment, we don't calculate the amount of effort of developer based on what they complete per day, right? So some of these questions are just like they're trying to correlate and see if what you written on your resume, you actually master them. So the resume, and many people also put so many stuff, a lot of experience. Your resume is outstanding. You get calls, but then you don't have the capacity to defend that resume. So you will need to build the capacity to match your resume. If you're getting calls and you're not closing them, you're wasting so many opportunities. It's very hard this day to get a Scrum Master interview. Trust me. So if you're getting those calls, you want to be able to leverage coaching. You want to be able to invest to make sure that those calls are converting to a job, right? And we have a three-stage process that it's meant to help you do that. In stage one, where we go through concepts, we'll make sure that you go through a panel interview. After the panel interview, you go to the practice room, you go through a second set of panel interviews. So by the time you sit in front of the interviewer, you are good. And we've had in the past couple of weeks such interviews where we have our student go in and after the first round, like, you know what, we're stopping every other interview. We know what you're looking for. So if you're actually looking for that space, that lab to be able to push through and close it in less than no time, then reach out and we are going to help you. We're not going to give you the job, but we'll show you exactly what to do to get the job, right? Now, the second tip, which I want to talk about today, it's about sustaining the conversation. The interviews have shifted this day from you just being behind the wheel and like, oh, thank you for this question and responding. It's about how you sustain the response. I'll give you a typical example. Now, you can be asked a question, how will you measure performance as a Scrum Master? Right. Instead of saying, oh, thank you for that question, I look at my bend down chart, I look at my velocity, and then I look at my throughput, or I look at my cumulative flow diagram. And then when I see that, I can know if my team is doing well or not. Right. These are answers for baby. Now, with the regulars and the competitive nature of the market now, you need to bypass that kind of minimal level of answer. Right. So how can you answer this question in a way that you sustain the conversation? Right. I would go by this, which is an advanced stage where you need to leverage, which is definitely what we give our students. Oh, that's a great question. When it comes to performance, it depends first on what we are trying to measure based on the business outcome, right? Based on what the customer expect. And also, it also depends on the kind of teams you're working on and the kind of product you're actually working on. Now, I'll give you an example in my environment. I actually work with a Kanban team and I also work with a Scrum team. With my Kanban team, lead time, cycle time, and throughput are some of the measures that are very important for us, and they help us to be able to kind of capture both the due date and also looking at how our developers are keeping into the due date. If I move now to my Scrum team, now it's a different ball game, right? I'm looking at how the team is completing work through the sprint, which I can capture on my springboard, and I'm also looking at the bend down chart, which is obviously a reflection of what happened on my board, right? So it's not just about me going to the chart. Everything that's happening, I can capture it from my springboard. Now, the velocity kind of just give us our committed versus expected and help to pull everything together and to show data to my leadership so that they can have an idea of what we are going through. But the core game is about how I engage with my developer throughout my sprint and get this result out. Now, this is how solid you give a response like, we haven't heard about this response before. And how do we get there? Right. So those are some extra stuff you go in. Now, this is for those like, you know what? I know everything. I'm just missing out this. No, you will need to go back to the basic, change the way we actually take out this conversation. The last part I want to talk about here is closing. This is what a lot of people don't do. Most often, they will interview you and they're like, okay, thank you. We'll talk to you on another day or we'll get back to you if you need to. Like, okay, thank you too. No, you don't do that in an interview. Now, if you get an interview and there is no closing, which means that first, you want to be able to interview them too. Hey, tell me about your team. What's the characteristic of the person you're looking into? How long has this team been existed, right? You need to be able to close. Now, if somebody was to join your team today, what are the must-have skills that you're looking for? Now, you're able to understand and to even know if you should wait for their call or not. Most often, when they give you those responses, it helps you to go back and look at what to do. If you go for one interview, two interview, three interview, and you come back and you still repeat the same thing, then you are the main person actually stopping yourself from getting where you need to get to. So three things which are going to help you to be able to sustain a job or sustain your interviews. Make sure you drive the interview to a job. The first thing is that resume, and I spoke extensively on resume. The second is sustaining the conversation, and I gave an example of that. The third is closing. Those powerful questions you're going to ask them just to know that, just to make them understand that you know exactly what you're looking for. All right. If this was actually helpful and if you need help putting this in practice, reach out. We have a powerful team that will help you crush that in less than no time. That will help you put you to a point. If you really want to put yourself, I'm tired of going in and out of interviews, and then I really want to get it now and forget about it, then join our community of practice, and we are going to help you close that gap in less than 90 days. Now, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and I'm going to be seeing you on Thursday where we are going to pick another interesting topic and dive deep into this. And most often, Thursday, I will focus more on how to sustain this conversation. I'll give you multiple scenarios and I'll give you how you can tweak them around to actually make it really stand out. Have a great week. Happy Monday. I'll see you on the other side.